Hryhorii Skovoroda was an 18th century philosopher, poet, and composer of religious music. A number of his writings can be found in his songs, several of which have been adapted to Ukrainian folk music. Skovoroda's work contributed to the culture of both Russia and Ukraine. He has been called Socrates, both as a moralist and one whose Socratic style is intended to stimulate thought and self-introspection. At the same time, Skovoroda's writings are imaginative, witty, and dramatic, with themes that highlight happiness and appreciation of life. Skovoroda did not seek to have his work published while he was still alive. He was more concerned with living in a manner true to the moral values upheld in his writings. 3 days prior to his death, Skovoroda went to stay with one of his closest friends. Each day he left the house, and it was discovered that he was digging his own burial place beneath a tree. On the third day, he announced that his time had come, and he simply lay down and passed away. At his request, his epitaph said, "The world tried to capture me, but didn't succeed." In recognition of his works and numerous contributions, Hryhorii Skovoroda's portrait was printed on the second largest banknote in circulation in Ukraine, the 500 hryvnia note. We now share with you excerpts from his writings in a conversation among 5 travelers concerning life's true happiness. The Supreme Divine Nature, the Beginningless Beginning. Let us first seek out the spark of God's truth within us, which, lighting up our darkness, will send us to the holy waters of Siloam, to which the prophet summons us. Wash you, make you clean, put away the evil of your doings. If the heart is filled up with the bitter sea of opinions, if a pit of evil has swallowed up the soul, what light can we hope for among the dark swarm of sorrows? What mirth and sweetness can we hope for where there is no light? What peace where there is neither life nor mirth? What life and peace if there is no God? What God without the Spirit of truth and the Spirit of dominion? What Spirit of truth without unworldly thoughts in a pure heart? What purity if it is not eternal, as it is written, His truth endures to all generations? How can it be eternal if it is lost in the contemplation of matter? How can it fail to be lost in contemplation of it if it esteems matter? How can one fail to esteem it if one depends on it? How can one fail to depend on it if one grieves over the dissolution of one's dust? Is this not to have the kind of heart of which it is written, Thou know the hearts to be like ashes, they are deceived, and not one of them can deliver his soul? Is this not a fall and a sinful wandering away from God toward the idolatry of dust? This is how you must ascend the mountain of peace. You must take an emetic, purify your heart, cast out old opinions, and not to return to this. Drink pure water, the water of new counsels, for all your days. This is to move from baseness to mountain heights, from sorrow to sweetness, from death to life, from puddles fit for swine to the springs of heaven fit for deer and antelopes. Drink until rivers of living water flow from your belly, slaking your most unhappy thirst, that is, your emptiness and dissatisfaction, your envy, lust, boredom, murmuring, longing, fear, sorrow, remorse, and other stings of the demon's heads, which all together bring death upon the soul. Drink until you can sing. Our soul is escaped as a bird. It will cross the flowing water. Blessed be the Lord, who hath not given us as a prey to the teeth. Drink until you can console yourself with Habakkuk, singing, thou wound the head out of the house of the wicked, I will rejoice in the Lord. I will joy in the God of my salvation. Singing with Hannah, my heart rejoices in the Lord. Singing with David, Lord, lift thou up the light of the countenance upon us. Ancient opinion is a most powerful and cunning enemy. According to the Gospels, it is difficult to tie up this strong man and to seize his vessels of opinion once he has been reborn in the heart. But what is sweeter than such labor which brings priceless peace back to our hearts? Struggle from day to day and cast them out one by one. Climb bravely from hour to hour up the mountain, declaring with David, I shall not turn back until they are consumed. My friends, let us fully live out our lives and let our senseless days and minutes flow past. We take the trouble to get whatever is needful to the flux of our days, but our chief concern should be for the peace of our soul, that is, for its life, health, and salvation. What is the use of ruling over the universe if you lose our own soul? What will you find in the world so precious and profitable that you would venture to exchange your soul for it? Oh, let us step carefully so as to succeed in entering God's rest and the Lord's holiday, or at least the Sabbath, if not the most blessed Sabbath of Sabbaths and feast of feasts. On the Sabbath, we shall be able to release our soul, if not our donkey, from at least half of the most arduous chores and shall attain, if not a general amnesty for man and beast in the Lord's pleasant summer of the seventh seven-year period, or the 50th year, according to the apostles, then at least some freedom for our poor soul from these labors. How long shall I take counsel in my soul, having sorrow in my heart daily? In man, the head of all things is the human heart. It is that which is most truly human in man. Everything else is peripheral. As Jeremiah teaches, deep is the heart of man above all things. It is man, and who can know it? Please take note that the deep heart is man. But what is the heart, if not the soul? What is the soul, if not a bottomless pit of thought? What is thought, if not the root, seed, and kernel of all our external flesh, blood, skin, and other outwardness? You see that the man who has destroyed the peace of his heart has destroyed his head and root. Is he not just like a nut, the kernel of which has been eaten away by worms, so that it has no strength, only a shell? The Lord speaks to this impoverished people with such compassion in Isaiah. Come ye near unto me, ye who have lost your hearts and are far from the truth. Thought is the secret spring within our bodily machine, the head and beginning of all its motion. All the outward limbs follow this head like a tethered cattle. Thought, like fire or a river, is never still. Its continuous striving is desire. A flame may die down, a river may cease to flow, but thought, which is without matter or the elements and supports crude corruption, wearing it like a dead vestment, is absolutely incapable, whether it's within the body or outside it, of suspending its motion even for a moment, and continues its striving, flying like lightning through boundless eternities and infinities without number. What does it strive toward? It seeks its sweetness and rest, but its rest is not lying still and stretching out like a dead body. This is alien and contrary to its living nature. Thought, like a traveler on the road, seeks its own likeness among the dead elements, and intensifying rather than slaking its thirst by base diversions, it moves the more rapidly from corrupt material nature toward the supreme divine nature, the beginningless beginning or principle which is akin to it, so that having been purified by its radiance and by the flame of its secret vision, it may free itself from its bodily earth and earthly body. And this is to enter into the divine rest, to purge oneself of all corruption, to move in a complete freedom and without obstruction, flying from the narrow limits of matter to the freedom of the spirit. As it is written, Thou hast set my feet in a large room. He brought me forth also into a large place. I bare you on eagle's wings and brought you unto myself. And this is what David quests, Oh, that I had wings like a dove, for then would I fly away and be at rest. Precious viewers, it's been a pleasure to have your company on today's Words of Wisdom.